greatest arcs in One Piece. Now, One Piece is a series that it's different than most other series. Most of the series, they have like one or two arcs that are really amazing, that are standout arcs. But when it comes to One Piece, it has multiple arcs that you could say is your favorite, that you love the most, and you could say that are the greatest arc. And that's why I'm making this video today, to discuss like most of the arcs I feel like that have that it factor that you say is the greatest arc in One Piece, and you got to give respect to that arc. The first arc I want to talk about is Punk Hazard. You're probably thinking there's Punk Hazard. We know Punk Hazard. It was just recently happened. Punk Hazard, after I saw this arc again, I was like, this arc is really good. We had the beginning with the epicness with Zoro cutting the dragon, giving us flashbacks to that short story that wanted Ryuma cutting the dragon, so that was pretty epic. And we had the epicness of bringing back Trafalgar Law. We haven't seen Trafalgar Law since the time skip when he was helping Luffy, so the fact that we saw him and he was chilling in Punk Hazard doing his schemes, yes, he was scheming, so he was definitely doing some next level stuff. And like, we seen Law have a lot of battles in that arc. If you think about it, he fought Smoker, and then he had a whole battle with Virgo, so like, you've seen Law in action, and it was really impressive seeing Law's power and how OP it was. I remember seeing Law's epic speech when talking about the New World and the Yonkers and all that crazy stuff, how the chain and order and all that epic stuff, and cutting the mountain and cutting through Virgo's haki. So yeah, Law definitely was a hype character when it comes to Punk Hazard. Also, moments I can bring up is Zoro versus Monet. Yeah, we seen what happened there. Yo, Zoro pretty much had her. Yeah, she should not mess with beasts, because Zoro, yeah, he definitely showed her that just because you're a female, yeah, some things might happen to you. I definitely want to say this, Luffy's Grizzly Magnum was definitely epic. The new attack was something new, so I definitely was so interested into it. But the fact that Luffy got pissed off with Caesar killing his own people, or attempting to kill his own people, that's what really stuck with me, because you know, Luffy hates people who hurt their own Nakama, so it was definitely epic to see that. And then finally but not least, I gotta say Doflamingo versus Aokiji. Yes, Doflamingo versus Aokiji is something that I have to bring up, because what can I say, yo? Like, it's two top tiers going at it. Like, you had Doflamingo get Aokiji gave him a warning. Aokiji gave him a warning, like, you just mess with Smoker, just stop where you're at, let's get out of here. And this guy still was trying to attack Smoker. Aokiji froze him. Doflamingo broke out the ice, kind of on some Whitebeard stuff, and the epicness, you know, between them. So I definitely gotta say it was epic. Doflamingo showing us Conqueror's haki against the Marine soldiers. This arc as a whole, there's so much things to talk about. I remember seeing like so many, like Lucci watching, Jack watching on the TV, Eustace Kid and Killer, and the whole Supernova Alliance forming with Apu and Blazer Hawkins. This arc was a very good arc and very underrated. Thriller Bark. When the first thing I say about Thriller Bark, everybody knows what the first thing everybody thinks about. Roronoa Zoro's, yeah, his sacrifice. His sacrifice is one of the biggest things in the One Piece story. My personal top 5 favorite moments in the One Piece story. It's so epic. Yeah, Sanji comes out of nowhere. What happened? Yo, nothing happened. Like, it's just crazy how that happened in the situation with Kuma and all that. But Thriller Bark has many other stuff that happens in the arc. Even though Zoro stuff is the greatest part of the arc, there's still a second part, Brooks flashback. That can be arguably your favorite part of Thriller Bark. Yo, it's such a sad flashback, seeing all his crew die and being so alone for all that time, like so much bad things happen to Brook till he's like 90. Yo, that was a very sad flashback. Binky Sake, yeah, the feels, the anime did it perfectly. Also gotta bring up Nightmare Luffy. That was an epic transformation. He went against Oz, and like, he was destroying Oz, and I was like, yo, Oz is a guy who was so OP. He can stretch his arm just like Luffy. He has the size, he has the strength. Like, the fact that Nightmare Luffy was playing with him, like, yeah, I definitely want to see Nightmare Luffy in the future again if we get the chance to see it. Moria hook Luffy up one more time for Kaido, maybe, I'm not too sure. But I also want to say this, Straw Hat Pirates versus Oz, that was a very intense fight. It was nice to see all the Straw Hats working together, but there's also comedic moments like the Dog King, how Robin did not want to do the Dog King. Hilarious. Frankie's like, yo, come on, Robin, stop ruining. Everyone's like, yo, stop ruining it. I was surprised that Zoro and Sanji actually worked with Frankie on that Dog King. But I do want to say this, Kuma was a big part in that arc. He came in the arc, he brought the dangerous intent there, and like, it was like, yo, Kuma's actually very serious. Yo, I also want to say that Kuma and Moria's interaction was epic. Moria saying, I know how your power works, yo, stop fronting, yo. And then also, last thing I want to say is it's a comedic arc. People don't like it, I know, but it's a comedic arc, and you have to respect Thriller Bark for being a funny arc. If you rewatch it or reread it, you'll be like, yo, this arc is pretty funny, yo, the zombies, all that situation there. Also want to say, like, the Absalom, the Lola stuff, and Moria's laugh. It was probably my favorite laugh in the One Piece story other than maybe Blackbeard, I'm not too sure, but Moria's laugh is an epic laugh, and you gotta respect Moria. I like him as a villain, but people hate Moria, but I love him as a villain. Jaya. Now Jaya, I'm not going to be rambling on Jaya because it's a very short arc. It's one of the few short arc I have in here. I was going to talk about Zou in this greatest arcs videos, but I know I don't want to spoil anime onlys. They still haven't witnessed most of the greatness in Zou. They witnessed some stuff with Jack, but I want them to witness more stuff in Zou because it's such an epic arc. So I won't talk about Zou in this video, but y'all know manga guys, you know Zou is a great arc. But Jaya kind of reminds me of Zou. It's kind of like a transitional arc, and the epicness of Jaya, first thing you have to talk about is Blackbeard and Luffy. And Blackbeard and Luffy is the first thing you have to talk about, yo. When a man's dreams never dies, yo. That symbolic epic moment, like Luffy and Blackbeard. And then what led to that moment was the whole Bellamy situation. Bellamy destroying Mont Blanc Cricket. Mont Blanc Cricket, that's a great story, bringing us feels. Sanji's flashback getting teased. Nolan, the greatness there. The story that was giving us teasers on that. It didn't really tell a story, but it was giving us teasers. Bellamy destroying Mont Blanc Cricket. Luffy getting pissed. The bounty, the bounties coming out, 100 million, 60. Well, they didn't come out there, but people were starting to realize the bounties like Bellamy, and he's like, yo, those are fake probably. And then he got the punch of death, one of the most greatest epic moments. That punch, people don't like Bellamy, but that punch is such a great moment for Luffy. Where are you going, man? To the sky. Love it. Go up the knockup stream. What a great arc. Jaya, I love it. Arlong Park, and the first thing Arlong Park I have to talk about is Nami's flashback. We went into that arc pissing. I'll be honest here, I think most of the fan base went into that arc hating Nami. What she did to the crew, taking the ship and going on her own to get some bounties. I was like, Nami, I hate your guts right now. And the fact with the whole situation with Usopp, but we finally understood what Nami was doing, and Nami, her character went up like to a lot of people's favorite after that. She was such an amazing flashback. What she sacrificed for her whole town, like playing the villain, even though they all knew she was a good girl to her own. So like, it was an epic flashback. Belmere, the whole situation of her mother, even though they're not blood related, oh my gosh, she still sacrificed herself just be named, knowing that they know that Belmere is her mother. I gotta love it. Arlong sickoness. Luffy puts a straw hat on Nami, and that leads to the Arlong walk in the anime, because the manga doesn't have it all walk, but it's still epic. You see the four guys. Yeah, I've been telling people that arc is gonna be foreshadowing for the end of the story, because Luffy, Zoro, Sanji, and Usopp are gonna be the Monster Four, just from that epic moment of them waiting for Luffy after he puts a straw hat on Nami. So definitely look at that and say, yo, do you agree? Do you not agree? I'm not too sure. Also, finally want to say this: Luffy versus Arlong. When they're in Nami's room, what can I say? I'm not gonna say anything else. So when they're in Nami's room and he goes crazy, yo, breaks Arlong's weapon, the axe of death. Yeah, he's breaking the room. I love it. Luffy's an epic character. Skypiea. Yeah, you guys know my profile picture for it's pretty much been my profile picture for most of my channel time. Nolan, I haven't changed it. Yeah, Nolan's flashback. What can I say? Nolan Kagura, the story of Nolan the liar, when really he was a truthful person, an amazing person, changed the whole island. He was the revolutionary. He did so much epic stuff, and to have all that shit on in his story, what can I say, man? It's such a great flashback. I can't even want to. I don't want to explain it because everybody knows it's tough to explain because it's so greatness. Arguably my favorite flashback. There's other flashbacks I love on equal terms, but Nolan's flashback always hits me with the feels. Nolan, man, yo, that epic friendship story with Kagura. And I also gotta say this: Enel as a villain in Skypiea is an epic villain, yo. His OP power, I didn't know how Luffy was gonna defeat him. Like, this guy cannot be touched right now. You see, back in the day, I didn't understand Logis and all that situation there, but yeah, Enel, Luffy being the counter rubber, I was like, whoa, this is out of nowhere. I'm like, I didn't even think about this, you know, watching anime. I don't think about science and all that stuff, but I was like, yo, this is crazy. Luffy's actually punching him. The shock face of Enel. Other moments I want to talk about is Sanji's sacrifice, an epic sacrifice to that. I gotta give respect to Sanji. And Luffy rings the bell. That's the best part of the arc for me personally. When Luffy rings the bell, you see Luffy's shadow in the sky, and Mont Blanc Cricket knows that yes, his mission is over. He's finally complete. Luffy did it, and you know, the feels, man. The end has that's probably the greatest ending to the arc. Probably for me personally, it's probably the greatest ending to an arc. Drum Island. Now, I'll be honest here, when it comes to Drum Island, I was a little iffy on putting in the greatest arc list, but after thinking about it, Chopper's flashback, it always hits me with the feels. Watching Uzumaki Khan live react to that, if you guys don't know, Uzumaki Khan is an epic live reactor. If you're not watching Uzumaki Khan live reaction, you're watching my videos, you could deserve to get slapped, because that guy is the best One Piece YouTuber right now, killing it in the game. His live reactions are epic. You gotta watch every single one of those. But I do want to say this: Chopper's flashback, the emotional feels, Dr. Hideyoshi talking about when does a man die, when he's forgotten, the epic stuff there. Also want to say this: Chopper's, like, he was getting so much bullied, everyone throwing his own people, his own deers or killer didn't want him, the humans didn't like him, like he did not know anywhere to go, and Hideyoshi was that person that took him in as a father. You gotta love that story right there. Also want to say this: when it comes to Drum Island, Luffy carrying Nami and Sanji over the cliff, his hands bleeding, his legs bleeding. Oh my gosh, that's why I love Luffy as a character. And then prior to that, Luffy taking I think it was Lafune, I'm not so sure what they call all those things, please tell me in the comment section. The rabid bunnies, he takes it out the snow. Yeah, what? Oh, yo, that's savage as hell, yo. I love Luffy for that and as a character. He doesn't hold grudges. Also, finally, I want to say Wapol, yo. Wapol's a funny villain. People don't like this, but Wapol's a hilarious villain, and Luffy whooped his ass. Dressrosa. Now, I know a lot of people did not like Dressrosa, especially the anime onlys. They said it dragged on for too long, but I just read this arc in the manga, all, I think, 100 chapters in a row, and this arc, I don't know how this arc cannot be in people's top 5. Like, this arc has so much stuff. We have the whole situation of Sabo, Luffy's brother, returning in the epic fashion. Nobody expected him to return at that point. And then you have Luffy versus Don Chinjao, the epic Haki clash, and Luffy actually destroying the guy's head to make it actually good. We have Sanji versus Doflamingo, Sanji intercepting Doflamingo, who's about to destroy the Sunny Go on the straw. It's on there. We have Zoro and Fujitora, the clash there. We have Law versus Doflamingo and Fujitora, the epic battle there, seeing Fujitora's power. And Admiral, man, and Admiral and 2 warlords. What can I say? Also, we have Sabo versus Fujitora, the final of the Revolutionary Second Command versus Fujitora. A lot of epic clashes there, as you see. Usopp's getting observation Haki. My man Usopp getting a W. I love it. Lost flashback. Khorasan. The sickness of Doflamingo, the Opiopi no Mi, Law, like the story of a Law, you can man, that's an epic flashback. Arguably, I think it's a top 5 flashback personally. I love that flashback. You can't tell me anything against it. Anime, manga, it's perfect. I love the flashback. Senior Pink, an unexpected story of him and his ex-wife who's passed away. Man, that just brings the feels, the Senior Pink feels, because people were making fun of Senior Pink before that, but that was epic. Luffy versus Doflamingo, so many epic moments there with the Haki clash and the Gear 4th greatness, the Awakening, King Kong gun. It was an epic battle, probably the second greatest fight in One Piece after Luffy versus Lucci. Gotta give respect to there. And then the post-arc greatness with Kaido getting his reveal, the Supernova's epicness there, and the Grand Fleet, bruh. The Grand Fleet, yo, Luffy got 5,600 extra people, yo. Like, this is epic, amazing development for Luffy. And speaking of development, Luffy versus Fujitora, him saying that he's not gonna run away, epic development. Dressrosa as an arc, it's tough for me not to put in my top 5. I have some other arcs that I have in my top 5, but I feel like Dressrosa is like number 6 for me. But like, yeah, it definitely has to be in the greatest arcs right here. Sabaody. You know what's funny about Sabaody? Sabaody, when I first watched One Piece, was my favorite arc, and people were surprised. But the reason why it was my favorite arc because the surprise. This arc was kind of known for its shocker, the surprise, the reaction, the hype, and that's what it pretty much was. The Supernovas, all seeing all of them out of nowhere, some epic pirates in the same class as Luffy. I was shocked. Then you see out of nowhere, we see that also Zoro is a part of this, the right hand man. Definitely gotta give respect to that. The Celestial Dragon situation, Zoro almost cutting up the Celestial Dragon, and Luffy actually punching that same Celestial Dragon in the arc. Yeah, these guys are savages and can't control themselves, but we loved it because how despicable the Celestial Dragons were. Hachi, oh my gosh. When I saw Hachi on the ground speaking to Luffy in that sad OST, I was like, please Luffy, destroy this man. This guy was so happy. Yo, I got it. He's so happy he got Hachi and shot him. He thought he killed him. I don't think he killed him, but still, he was pissing me off. Rayleigh's introduction, the right-hand man to Goldie Roger that conquers Haki, comes out of nowhere, tells the story of Goldie Roger, how he brought himself in the One Piece, and Luffy's like, yo, Usopp, calm yourself down, yo, we're not gonna get spoiled over here. And Robin's situation there, saying, yo, where's like the Void Sentry and all that stuff? We know the Void Sentry. Rayleigh definitely brought an element to the story that I had to give some respect to. 3 captains, Eustace Kid, Trafalgar Law, Luffy outside the auction house going ham, seeing their unique powers, some crazy powers at that. Kizaru and his gang coming out of nowhere, sent to Maru, the Pacifistas, Kuma, everything, like, and then Rayleigh with Kizaru fight, destroying the crew by Kuma. Like, this is just an arc that has so much reaction hype. It's just a hype arc, and after rewatching and rereading it, it kind of went lower. It's probably in my top 5, but it's not number 1 anymore. But it's definitely an arc that a lot of people have as their number 1, and I have to respect that. It's such an amazing arc with so much hype stuff. Alabasta, yes, we're talking about Alabasta, and I'll be honest here, rewatching and rereading Alabasta, it just gets better and better and better. The build up from this arc, from the previous arcs, oh my gosh, what can I say, yo? Oda did it perfectly with all the mini arcs that we had before it, and then we had the greatness of seeing Luffy's brother Ace clashing with Smoker, talking with Luffy, giving the Beaver card, the epic Yuba feels. Yes, people don't bring this up, but the Yuba feels, the old man, and now Crocodile's been throwing that sandstorm all the time, and Luffy gets in the water. Oh my gosh, and he gives Luffy the water to drink. Yeah, you definitely gotta give respect to that, because that water saved saved Luffy's life. Luffy versus Vivi. Luffy actually hitting Vivi, that shocked everybody, and it's like, yo, this is actually some legit stuff here. Luffy versus Crocodile. Yeah, what can I say? Luffy versus Crocodile. There's part 1 where Luffy gets destroyed, part 2 where Water Luffy comes out of nowhere, and part 3 where Luffy actually surpasses Crocodile, and part 3 is my favorite, the Symphony. Oh my gosh, yo, Gomu Gomu no Storm. What can I say, yo? Luffy versus Crocodile has to be my top 5 favorite fights in the One Piece story. I love it. And then we have Usopp and Zoro having their epic moments. You know, Usopp saying that Luffy's the man who's going to become Pirate King, Zoro cutting steel. We also have some epic moments with Nami and her climb attack. And I also want to say this, the farewell is probably one of the greatest moments of One Piece, when they're putting their hands up with the X. It's one of the, it has to be one of the greatest moments, yo. Like, oh my gosh, if you don't get the feels of there, I don't know what's wrong with you, man. You gotta rewatch that stuff, yo. It's epic. Water 7. How can I start this off, yo? Usopp getting his ass whooped, Frankie walk. Let's go. This Water 7 has to be one of your favorite arcs, because at the Luffy versus Usopp fight, that two best friends fighting it out, it had everyone shook. Our heart was racing. You should watch Uzumaki Khan's live reaction, yo, because that was getting me like, yo, oh my gosh, this is intense. Like, I was sweating, yo. This is an epic moment. Luffy versus Usopp for the Mary. Oh my gosh, yo. If you don't have the feels there, when will you get the feels, yo? Luffy versus Usopp. Who would have thought that when you're starting One Piece? CP9 reveal. We didn't even know who CP9 was, and out of nowhere you see the Gali Law were actually CP9. Oda, man. Let me give you a kind of a clap. No, later. I'll do it later. But Frankie's flashback, people don't talk about this, but Frankie's flashback is one of my favorite flashbacks from the Straw Hat Pirates. Tom-san, duel with the Dawn. You're like, respond him. Like, this is an epic flashback. I gotta give respect to that. And the actual chase for Robin, knowing that Robin did it for all us, she's doing all this for us. Luffy breaking the building, Zoro cutting. Like, they all knew what they had to do. Let's get on the sea train. Let's go to Enies Lobby. Water 7 is a transitional arc, but it's an amazing transitional arc. Probably the best transitional arc in the whole story. Now, I just said probably the best transitional arc in the story, but I'll be honest here, Water 7 has definitely had to be tied for the best transitional arc in the story. Impel Down, that Luffy and Buggy greatness, the reunion. What can I say? Jinbei and Crocodile hype. Yes, I definitely give respect to Jinbei and Crocodile. They're such amazing characters, and they got released with help Luffy, Haki saving Bon Clay. That had me with the feels. Before that, Magellan versus Luffy. I just made a video talking about Magellan and how strong he was. That Magellan versus Luffy, seeing Luffy get devastating, destroyed. I gotta give some respect to Magellan, yo. He was an amazing antagonist. Blackbeard versus Luffy, yo, when he's looking at Luffy and like, yo, Blackbeard and Luffy, that's an iconic moment right there, yo. And then he's like, yo, it exists, you know, the One Piece does. Yo, he's like, did Skypiea exist? It's the same for One Piece, yo. Like, Blackbeard giving Luffy like that edge, like, we're fighting as for to be the Pirate King, and Blackbeard starting his plan, yo. He did some epic stuff in Impel Down. Also want to say Magellan and his Hell's Judgment. That's a scary attack. I think it might be Awakened, I'm not too sure. And finally, probably the greatest moment, if not the greatest, in Impel Down. People have to give that respect. Bon Clay's sacrifice, yo. If you were not crying in that situation, you ain't part of the squad, yo, because the whole squad was crying, yo. Bon-chan! Fishman Island. Yeah, people are gonna be surprised, but Fishman Island is my third greatest arc. Now, I'll be honest, all the other arcs I've been talking about, I haven't been ranking them. When it comes to the top 3, I'll never change my ranking. Fishman Island is my third favorite arc. Straw Hats return. They actually have a return arc, and now we know people say return to Sabaody is when the Straw Hats return, but Fishman Island for me is when I actually see the Straw Hats interacting more and being together in that same field that we've been missing for a long time. I also want to say this, the theme in Fishman Island, the racism, discrimination, equality, all that craziness in Fishman Island, it speaks to me, man. Definitely speaks to me. And the epic moments, we have Zoro taking out Hody underwater, like, that was an epic moment. You gotta respect to that. Also, Luffy using Congress Haki on 100,000 fishmen, I believe. Yeah, something that, no, it was 50,000 fishmen, but yeah, it was still epic, yo. 50,000 fishmen in one go, taking them out. You gotta give props to Luffy for that epic moment. And just a lot of epic moments there. Amazing flashback with Fisher Tiger and Otohime. Fisher Tiger is probably my, if not my favorite, probably tied my favorite flashback in the story, yo. When he doesn't take the human blood and the koala situation there, oh my gosh, yo. And she's cleaning the deck, yo. Like, that flashback, I gotta give some respect. Otohime too, like, she was striving for that greatness, crying over the speaker. She really wanted to save Fishman Island. And also the voice of all things we see at the end, yo. Hody was not really a great villain, but Hody speaks to me because it spoke to the themes that they were trying to bring, yo. Hody Jones, a human never really did anything to them, you know. It was just pure hatred, and it's something that speaks to me. Also, I want to say this, that Poseidon was a huge reveal, and the Big Mom and Luffy situation going back and forth. Jinbei speaking about Ace and Akainu and Aokiji, and Blackbeard's rise, like, This arc for me is my third greatest arc. It's just a personal favorite. People hate Fishman Island, but I love it. Enies Lobby. Now, a lot of people have Enies Lobby as their favorite arc, and personally, it's my second favorite arc in this entire series. What can I say? We have Luffy versus Blue Note. Luffy bringing out that gear greatness. Even before the gears, he was kicking his ass, and Blue Note was surprised because Luffy was fighting with a different intention. Now, he was angry, and then we have, well, not angry, but he was determined. And then we have Gear seconding, and he was like, yo, destroying Blue Note with that final jet bazooka. And Blue Note's like, he's still standing, so I'm like, what's gonna happen here? And Luffy's like, Gear, and he's about to go Gear third, and then Blue Note falls down. That's such an epic moment to tease a Gear, and Oda did tease Gear third multiple times in the story, so I definitely gotta give him props. I mean, and then he's lobby, like I definitely gotta give Oda props for that. Robin's flashback. Another flashback that's probably tied for my favorite flashback in this entire series. Deda she Olivia, Saul, like what can I say? Aokiji, Akainu doing his sickleness, Spawn dying, Spondum's father. Yeah, this is an epic flashback. Ohara, like these guys were striving. The Gorosei, this was an amazing flashback. Robin, you see how struggles her whole entire life running away because of the bounty. Robin, I want to live, yo. Luffy told her say that, yo, and it's an iconic moment. People who don't even watch One Piece know that moment. I want to live. Sogeking shooting down the flag. What can I say, yo? Luffy said Sogeking shoot it down, and Sogeking did it, aka Usopp. Sorry, spoiler alert. But I also want to say this: the battles, yo. We had so many epic battles. Some of my favorite battles, my Nami's favorite battles, Nami versus Khalifa. We had Sanji versus Jabra with the Diable Jumba. Zoro versus Kaku with the Ashra. Yo, this is epicness, yo. And then also Luffy versus Lucci. It was first I want to bring up Frankie and versus, I think his name was I forgot his name, but the guy who was like Fukuro, yeah. I think it's Frankie versus Fukuro, and Chopper versus I forgot his name, Kumadori, yeah. Those are epic fights too. Monster Point is such an epic moment in the entire series. Frankie burning the blueprints, I just remembered that. And Luffy versus Lucci, the greatest fight in the One Piece story. What can I say, yo? The greatest fight in the One Piece story. These guys were throwing hands. And also the Mary coming out of nowhere. What can I say, yo? If you want to also include this, the post arc had so much epic moments too. The Mary's death, yo, the Mary's death definitely picks the feels. Enies Lobby, definitely deserving of a #1 spot, but it's my #2 greatest arc in One Piece. Such a great, amazing series that I can't even put it #1. Marineford. Now people are thinking, oh, he's that casual fan who loves Marineford as his favorite arc, and to be honest, Marineford is, I reread and rewatched this arc so many times, and I don't think it's a casual thing. Marineford is just an amazing arc. We had the whole situation of Ace, and Ace there, and Ace in handcuffs pretty much, and he's the objective of this arc. We have the intro of Whitebeard coming out of nowhere, the earthquake, the tsunami, the intro of the admirals going at Whitebeard, the Yonko versus the Yonko commanders versus the warlords. So many hyped characters there that were fighting, and then you have Luffy out of nowhere entering the fight. Oh my gosh, like seeing different powers, different unique stuff, great all-around battle. And the death of Ace, and he's like, thank you for loving me, yo. And Akainu, that sicko, oh my gosh. And then Whitebeard coming out of nowhere and fighting with Akainu and destroying him with the anger and the earthquakes, and Akainu getting that work. And then Whitebeard versus Blackbeard, and Whitebeard taking the L, and he's dying with all his scars on his back. One Piece does exist. Blackbeard, the only man to have 2 Devil Fruits, and then you have another Yonko entering the war. What can I say? Red Hair Shanks, this is my favorite arc in the One Piece story, and I believe the greatest arc in One Piece story. Tell me your thoughts in the comment section. Do you think there's gonna be an arc that surpasses Marineford for you personally, or your favorite arc? Is it Enies Lobby? Is it Impel Down? Is it Water 7? Like and share if you enjoyed. Like and share only if you enjoyed, and subscribe for more One Piece content. I'm the Legend Mac, and I'm gone. Yeah, this is a long video.